Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and good morning, everybody. This is Lori Smith on Blog Talk Radio. Happy New Year to you, first day of the year 2010, January 1st, and I'm just here for 15 minutes this morning, one child abuse survivor to another. I'm glad to be here. It was a late night for me. Everybody was having so much fun around me that the music was so loud I really couldn't go to sleep, and I was up seeing the New Year in too, so it's really bright and early here, 5:30 in the morning, Calgary, Alberta time. And I'm so happy to be here to share this information with you. I wouldn't miss it for anything. And I hope that you can tune in. It's only a 15-minute show this morning. I have another half-hour program this evening at 9:30 and Mountain Standard Time. And so if you can join me for that, that'd be great too. This morning, what I thought we'd talk about is, it's New Year's Day, first of all. So New Year's Day is always associated with new beginnings and new challenges and new sort of goal setting, and it's quite an exciting time for everybody, especially if you're kind of looking forward to making some real positive changes in your life. And so I thought we might just kind of, move along those lines this morning because it's such a short show, such a short program. There's so much good information out there I found on like making coping lists, and that's what I thought we might cover today because we haven't talked about that it's been a few shows since we were talking about our coping list, and I haven't actually really gotten back to that. And it's probably a good thing to do, especially when we're setting goals, is to actually start writing things down, maybe journaling or, just keep notes on how you're feeling and if you have any, sometimes during the day we might have an idea that pops into our head, and if we don't have any pen and paper to write it down, we might forget what it was. So these are things we can do to kind of help look at our situation and then make some real strides to making some real positive change in our lives. And as one child abuse survivor to another knows, like we all know that it's a walk and we have to keep walking it out. So I'm just really excited to be here. If you're in my chat room, I'm happy that you're here, and just hold on, I'll be checking in there periodically. And this is a live streaming internet radio show on blogtalkradio.com, and you can phone in. I've got a guest call-in number. It's a U.S. number. It's area code 917-889-3736, and you're welcome to phone in if you'd like to share something with the listeners, and you think maybe you've got some information regarding child abuse, domestic violence, any kind of adult survivor therapy that just worked and you just wanted to pass it on, or you have a great website, things like that. Please be sure and phone in. And if you just want to tell your story and tell, just talk to people about how you've managed to make it and how you've done it, please be sure and do that. I just welcome everybody to come on the show, and if you'd like to be like an actual guest on the show, please let me know. So I thought we'd just kind of go from there. I wanted to really quickly add that there is a petition going around. I did a whole show on this, an hour-long program regarding a petition that needs to be signed. It's to add cyberstalking to restraining orders, and it's on GoPetition, www.gopetition.com, and you can look under the latest petitions that are there, and just pull, if you can scroll down on your computer, and you can just select it from the group, and it's called Add Cyberstalking to Restraining Orders. And this is so important. This is something that started, I'm not exactly sure who it started with, but I know that a lady that I know who is a director for one of the Silver Braid groups in Northern California has put this petition together, and she is asking that everybody sign it. And there was a couple hundred signatures last night, and they need 5,000 in order to take this petition to the White House, to Washington, D.C., to get this made a law. And this is really important for anybody who's ever experienced harassment, internet harassment or cyberstalking, or is it in a domestic violence, having restraining orders against someone. We all know that cyberstalking is happening, and so I just would hope that you would go and sign this petition. And it only takes 10 seconds, and just add your name. I know I did, because I know I wouldn't want to be a victim of that. So I'm, more than willing to sign that petition for others, who might be going through that issue, right? So that's really important. I just thought I'd mention that. Also, I have some other information here. I'm going to give out some groups that I really found helpful, because today is New Year's Day, and I thought we wouldn't do too much work on. There's only a few minutes to do the show, so I thought I would just mostly cover some great resources that I have found, so that if you're interested in any of these, you can contact me if you don't quite get the information here. And I just hope that if you're a survivor of child abuse and you are or domestic violence or sexual abuse, anything like that, that you would get some help if you are really struggling. And I know so many people like myself are able to manage and cope quite well, and but there are others out there who just can't. And for a period of time, actually for quite a few years, I had some real problems with coping. And I know had I reached out, it would have probably really done me some good. But I wasn't really ready to make that decision. But I didn't reach out for the support. That's why I'm saying this show is here, and that's really why I'm here, is to encourage you to reach out. Because now I find that now that I am reaching out, and now that I am looking for the information and actually looking to sort of involve myself in my own healing, I'm so happy, because this is my healing, is searching out this information for this Blog Talk Radio show. I'm actually learning so much about my own situation and about sort of my own needs for healing and what's working for me even. So that's why I'm so happy to be able to share this with you. So we'll just look at coping lists here. I got this off of www.irvingstudios.com, and this is Michael C. Irving. He is a PhD psychotherapist and sculptor, and he's the creator of Child Abuse Monument here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And he has some great coping lists on his website under self-care. So if you go onto his website, you can find that. And, I'd suggest that there's some great information for people who just need to maybe create a list so that they can learn how to cope with things that, for post-traumatic stress disorder or just anxiety issues, things related to PTSD. And some coping lists that might actually make a difference and might help, in your daily walk. And so that's what I thought we'd continue on with. And the most important one to me is what to do in a crisis, because if you're having a crisis, it means there's a real problem. And you don't want to be making a list right when you're having a crisis, because you can't focus to make a list, and it's just, you're already in a crisis. So when you're in a crisis, you need to just reach out and make the phone calls like a crisis line and get the help you need. But here's what he says: managing a crisis. What to do in a crisis is probably the most important list you can have. When you are feeling overwhelmed, is the most difficult time to know what you should do to stabilize. Managing a crisis is about lowering the degree of suffering you are in and reconnecting with some form of empowerment and hope. You do not have to continue to suffer. The worst thing you faced was the original abuse, and you made it through that. Now you can find a way to manage the memories and flashbacks that occur. Using your personal ways of grounding and I'm not sure what that says, turning to other people are important at times of crisis. You do not have to be alone with your despair. You can call a friend, support group member, or a therapist. And if you cannot contact someone in your personal support system, call a crisis line, distress center, or help phone. So I thought that's such a good reminder for anyone out there. And things we can do is to make a list of, for a crisis list, could be something like phone my therapist, phone a friend, just write this on a card and have it handy by your phone, or with you, sort of sitting where you normally would be sitting at home, or in your car. See my support person or sponsor. Breathe deeply. Count to 100. These are suggestions that he has for a coping list. But we all have to develop our own coping lists. And I want to continue on with this, too, as part of the program, just because it is pretty good information. It's sort of, ideas that I wouldn't have thought of. Remind yourself of the location, the time, the date. For grounding, I guess. Put a clock or calendar near you to help with being oriented. Look around the room. Find a comfortable or safe location. Remind myself of my accomplishments. make a therapy appointment, take a day off. These are things that might be on your coping list so that you can check them off and you can say, okay, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, right? And by the time you've done that, then you're okay. And what he says here is one of the most important items on a crisis list is the directive to go back to the top of this list. This instruction is telling you that there is hope and that you just need to review your crisis list another time to find something that will help you right now. So there's all kinds of ways we can work through our PTSD or issues with adult survivor issues. And if you're someone out there suffering, please get help. Dial 911 first of all. And if your life is in danger or your child's life is in danger, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to them. You especially owe it to them and yourself to get help. They're counting on you, and people in your life who love you are counting on you. So make sure that you get the help you need. I say that in every single show. It probably drives people crazy, but you know what? You have to do it. And if you're someone out there who's suffering and listening to this show right now, you just need to make sure that you do get the help that you deserve, because no one should be abused. Men, women, children all around the world are abused, and it's sort of what I study, and that's why I got involved, because I grew up in a home that was abusive, and I know that it takes its toll, and you can, but it's doable, right? And there's so many people that have proven it. That's why I ask you to go out, prove me wrong, and show me some survivors, who are out there making it and being a voice for the rest of us. We really owe it to them to stand up and support them. In order to do that, we have to stay alive. We have to stay well. So if you're in an abusive situation right now and you're a woman or a man or a child, it doesn't matter who you are, get help. And if your life is being threatened, dial 911 or get the proper help. Call a crisis line, whatever you have to do, but get out of that environment, because you can save your life and you can save your children's lives. And so I can't say that enough, and so I'll just keep saying it. I would suggest for websites, I've got about 3 minutes left on the show, and I just wanted to share some websites with you that really helped me out. There is the Silver Braid organization, Silver Braid Survivors Support Group for Women of Sexual or Violent Abuse, and this is a Ning group. It's a faith-based Ning group, and started by Donna, and she's a good friend of mine and a very awesome lady and a survivor, and she is just a big, huge inspiration in my life. And then there is another Silver Braid organization headed up by Deanna Phelps, who is the originator of that petition I was talking about earlier, Deanna Phelps, and that's the lady I did the 1-hour show on. She's got her own website there for the work that she does within Silver Braid organization. So there's quite a big silverbraid.org. You just go online and start looking around. Go on Facebook, start typing in Silver Braid, anything Silver Braid, it'll pop up there, right? You'll see all kinds of good stuff. And Silver Braid, let me just read this out to you quickly here. I don't want to, we've only got a few seconds left. Silver Braid, this is silverbraid.norcal.weebly.com, and that's Silver Braid Domestic Violence Resource and Education. So we've only got about a minute left, and I hope that this has been helpful for you. Please contact me if you need more information. Another group that I belong to, it's a support group online with there's blogs, and there's people managing their walking out their healing, and it's called Child Abuse Survivors, Safe Place for Survivors and Supporters. And that one is it's also on Facebook, but you can go on there. There's some great information regarding child abuse. There's also a community, and I belong to that community, and it's a great place to go and talk to people who are suffering with the same things that you might be suffering and going through, right? So you can relate to these people. You don't even have to use your real name. You can go in there with a anonymous name. So we've got about a minute left. The Real Grace for Women Network.org. That's another. It's a faith-based organization designed to guide women who have been wounded and abused. And then there is Restoring His People Ministries. This is headed up by Leila Albert, and she's at www.myspace.com/restore children, and it's a faith-based ministry for the abused, depressed, brokenhearted. She's a child advocate for domestic violence and child sexual abuse in New Jersey, and she knows her stuff. I really want you to get the help that you need. Contact me if you need something. Have a great, happy New Year. Happy New Year to you all, and I hope you'll join me this evening, 9:30, for Child Abuse Prevention and Human Rights Abuse Prevention is Up to Us. Have a great day, everyone. You're in my thoughts.